Tonight, or maybe tomorrow morning, you'll do something so normal you'll barely notice it. You'll pick up a tiny metal lever, press it once, and remove part of your body with a cheerful little snap. That sound feels ancient, but the modern nail clipper is not ancient at all. Which raises a very specific bathroom question. Before clippers, how did people cut their nails? And here's the part that should stop you. The answer is not just with knives. It's a whole history of friction, class anxiety, superstition, medical weirdness, and tiny personal hardware. But here's the first thing. For most of human history, nails were probably not a weekly chore. They were being destroyed constantly. Modern fingernails grow around 3 millimeters a month, according to nail growth studies cited in dermatology research. That's about the thickness of 2 stacked pennies, slowly sliding out of your fingers while you're trying to have a life. But now your life includes keyboards, ceramic mugs, and climate-controlled rooms where the roughest object you touch all day might be a tortilla chip. Older lives were sandpaper with taxes. So what happened before the little bathroom guillotine? A lot of it was abrasion. Grinding grain on stone, scraping hides, washing clothes by hand, working rope, wood, clay, wool, soil, leather, and metal, walking barefoot, cooking over rough surfaces, carrying tools that did not come with ergonomic silicone grips. If your hand spent 12 hours a day arguing with the physical world, your nails did not get to become dramatic. They got edited. But here's the next part. When friction wasn't enough, people used blades. Not fancy blades, just blades. The Bible gets strangely specific about this. In Deuteronomy 21:12, an instruction mentions shaving the head and trimming the nails. That's a text from the first millennium BC, casually confirming that nail trimming was already a recognizable human task. Not glamorous, not new, just there, tucked into law and ritual, like everyone agreed fingernails could become a situation. So yes, people cut them. But with what? Small knives, pen knives, personal knives, the same general tool you might use for cord, food, leather, or whatever else your century was throwing at you. The Roman poet Horace, writing around 20 BC, even describes a man in a barber's booth cleaning his nails with a penknife. Elegant, if publicly scraping your fingertips with a knife can be elegant. Tiny blade, big trust. But here's the thing about knives. They solve the length problem and create the oops, blood problem. A nail is curved, tough, slippery, and attached to a fingertip packed with nerves. Cutting it with a knife is possible. It also explains why humans invented both prayer and profanity. So people filed. Ancient and medieval grooming kits often included scrapers, nail cleaners, tweezers, and files. Archaeologists have found Roman toiletry sets with little metal tools that look like they belong to a dentist for dolls. Emery, pumice, rough stone, and later metal files could grind a nail down gradually instead of slicing it off in one suspicious move. Slow, but sensible. And then there were scissors. By the early modern period, small scissors were common enough in grooming sets that nail scissors became their own specialized object. Curved tips helped follow the nail's shape, steel got better, but scissors still demanded 2 blades, a steady hand, and the courage to operate a miniature beak near your skin. Not exactly relaxing. But here's where nails stop being hygiene and start becoming evidence. Your nails told people what kind of life you had. If you were doing hard manual work, your nails broke, split, wore down, and collected the day's materials. Soil, dye, soot, flour, blood, fish smell. History was not subtle. If your nails were long, clean, and shaped, that could signal something else entirely. You were not spending your day sanding yourself against reality. In several cultures, long nails became status symbols precisely because they were inconvenient. Qing Dynasty China is famous for extreme nail guards among elite women, especially in the 1800s. The point was not efficiency. The point was the opposite. your hands announced that somebody else was doing the lifting. Fingertips as paperwork. But here's the part that gets even stranger. Nail clippings were not always treated like trash. Folklore around Europe and elsewhere warned that nail parings could be used in magic, curses, or bad luck if they were left lying around. Some traditions told people to burn them. Others said bury them. In Islamic practice, nail trimming is part of fitra, the natural cleanliness customs, and many communities developed careful habits around disposal. Jewish customs also include detailed folk practices about the order of cutting nails and what to do with the clippings. It sounds excessive until you remember what a clipping is. It's a piece of you. Small, dead, portable, and weirdly intimate. Basically, your garbage had fingerprints. So by now the answer seems obvious. Before clippers, people wore nails down, pared them with knives, trimmed them with scissors, and shaped them with files. That's the whole thing. Case closed. But here's the twist. Your nails may have been keeping records the whole time. In 1941, an American physician named William Bennett Bean started a medical self-experiment. Because apparently some doctors see a quiet evening and think, I should mark my thumbnail with sharp glass for several decades. Bean was not a random hobbyist. He became a professor of medicine and an editor connected with Archives of Internal Medicine. He tracked his own nails for roughly 40 years, publishing updates along the way, including a long retrospective in 1980. What did he show? That nails are not just dead little shields. They are slow biological ticker tape. Illness, age, circulation, trauma, season, and use can all affect how fast they grow. A mark near the base creeps outward like a calendar you can't peel off. Your body writes, very slowly, in keratin. And that makes the old world look different. Maybe the pre-Clipper story was never just about tools. Maybe it was about a feedback loop between body and environment. Your hands worked. The world wore the nails down. The nail matrix replaced them. The cycle stayed balanced. Then modern life padded the world. Smooth desks, soft gloves, plastic handles, indoor jobs. Suddenly, your nails were still growing at prehistoric speed, but the environment had stopped doing its half of the manicure. Civilization didn't invent nail growth. It created nail surplus. Except here's where it gets complicated. The boring answer is still the correct one. People did not need secret lost technology. Nails are plates of hard keratin made by the nail matrix under the skin. The visible nail is mostly dead compacted cells, pushed forward from the base. When it extends beyond the fingertip, you can shorten it by abrasion, slicing, clipping, or filing. That mechanism is not mysterious. It is dermatology wearing a tiny helmet. And the tool history is pretty clear too. The modern clipper arrived late because it required a small, cheap, precise piece of mass-produced metalwork. Valentine Fogarty filed a U.S. patent for a fingernail trimmer in 1875. William C. Edge followed with another in 1876. John H. Hallman had one in 1878. Later designs refined the jaws, lever, rivet, and file until the clipper became the pocket object you know now. That little snap is industrial history, not magic. But here's the part that still doesn't fully close. Why did this simple tool take so long? Humans had clocks, locks, printing presses, telescopes, surgical instruments, firearms, windmills, and ocean-going ships before they had the everyday lever clipper. We could calculate eclipses and cross the Atlantic, but trimming a thumbnail still often meant get the small knife and be brave. Maybe the need wasn't urgent because work wore nails down. Maybe specialized grooming tools were too expensive. Maybe scissors were good enough. Maybe nobody thought the problem deserved a separate invention until mass manufacturing made tiny conveniences profitable. All of that makes sense. Mostly. But there's still something funny about it. The nail clipper feels inevitable only after it exists. Before that, it was apparently possible for civilization to march through empire, plague, opera, and steam power, while everybody quietly accepted that fingertip maintenance involved blades, files, superstition, or just letting the day chew them off. It's probably just the mundane explanation. Nails grew, work wore them down, knives and files handled the rest until cheap precision metal gave you the snap. But maybe the clipper also marks the moment your hands stopped living in the same world your nails evolved for. Tonight, when you hear that tiny click, it's probably just keratin. Probably. And if you're still here, please leave the strange question you want answered next in the comments. Last time we asked, why do onions make you cry? The answer is a chemical weapon. So clearly this channel is one upload away from being placed on a very confusing kitchen watch list.